The representation of the LGBTQ community in magazines is a relatively short history, as it is so new. Since the first magazines aimed towards the queer community, there have been plenty of successes, but in 2019 there is still hate aimed towards portrayals of LGBTQ people. There has been more content in mainstream magazines as well as entire magazines dedicated to the community. Dyke A Quarterly was a magazine published in the 1970s as a way to spread messages of lesbian feminism during the second wave. It has since been used as a historical reference as to what lesbian feminists were doing at the time. The magazine published a photo of the original The Future is Female shirt in 1975 in their issue titled What a Well-Dressed Dyke Will Wear, which has since been recreated in mainstream society as the original and as The Future is Fluid. Dyke A Quarterly was one of the first public outlets for the LGBTQ community and now serves as a historical guide for queer studies. At the time of her coming out, Ellen DeGeneres played Ellen Morgan on her self-titled sitcom Ellen. The show features an episode where her character comes out as gay, making her the first portrayal of a gay woman in a lead role on network TV. Ellen came out to the public at the same time as her character in 1997 and was featured in Time magazine. The now famous magazine cover shows a smiling Ellen with the quote, "Yep, I'm gay." The interview shocked many. Ellen received plenty of support from her family and friends, but many reacted poorly. Ellen's coming out was a milestone for the gay community because it was recognized by a major magazine, and she was given the chance to speak her mind and control how her story was told. Time has been taking a more positive stance on equal rights and inclusion longer than many other magazines have. They've given a platform to Ellen and recently the Me Too movement. Outburst, founded in 2005, is a magazine dedicated to the LGBTQ community. Their content focuses on equal rights issues, advice, and education for queer youth, and features prominent members of the community. They are one of the organizers of the National Festival of LGBT History. Their goal is to educate the UK about the history of the LGBT community and assist in growing social and historical research into the queer community's past, present, and future. A lot of their content is dedicated to their partner organization, Schools Out UK, which advocates for visibility, education, and protection for LGBT kids in schools. Parents Magazine has been publishing content for 90 years and has published over 1,000 issues in that time. In February 2019, Parents featured a gay couple on their cover. Fitness trainer Sean T. Fitness and his husband Scott pose with their 2 boys. They are the first gay couple featured in the magazine. In the accompanying article, they discuss the surrogate process and parenting techniques. Despite the strides the queer community has made over the years, this cover was still met with outrage and boycotting from conservative groups like 1 Million Moms for, quote, promoting the homosexual lifestyle, unquote. The LGBTQ community still have to fight for basic representation and familial rights. Mainstream magazines that include queer identities risk condemnation, which lowers incentive to accurately represent the changing society. Seventeen has traditionally been a magazine focused on teen girls. Known for dating advice and articles typical to the interests of teenage girls, 17 has recently added an LGBTQ section to their website and magazine. In this section, they talk about terminology, equal rights, identity, sex education, etc. They are using their platform to reach a larger audience and address the needs and concerns of all kinds of teens. In the past, 17 was fairly heteronormative and aimed towards girls. This inclusion gives much-needed validation to queer and LGBTQ teens and works to educate them about their community and resources. While actor and musician Ezra Miller is no stranger to showcasing his sexuality and gender nonconformity, it's something incredibly new for Playboy magazine to feature a man who exists outside the gender binary. Playboy, who is famous for photo shoots with cisgender women, has only ever had 2 previous editions with individuals of the LGBT community. Miller discusses his fluid sexuality, polyamorous leanings, and experimentation early on in his life. He is openly and unapologetically queer, and the Playboy photo shoot and article showcase his sexuality and personality in a way few mainstream magazines have done before.
They say excitement and nervousness are the same part of the brain triggering, and it's conscious perception of whether you think it's a good thing or a bad thing that's going to happen. But I think it's going to be good. So let excitement override.
Well, fans are definitely embracing Ezra, who showcases his non-conforming fashion sense in the new issue of Playboy. In the spread, the actor dons lipstick and heels, paired, of course, with a pair of bunny ears. The shoot is earning praise on social media for being so progressive. But to anyone who's ever seen Ezra on a red carpet, this kind of expression should come as no surprise.
There's an importance to the application of ideologies of freedom in how you secure space for nonconformity and to enforce individualism. You know what I mean? To be the person who you are.
In 2018, dubbed 20Gay-teen by many, there are many notable declarations of pride. One of the most notable being Panic at the Disco's frontman and former Kinky Boots lead, Brendan Urie. Urie has been very transparent about his sexuality in the past, writing what would become a bisexual anthem in his early career, Girls, Girls, Boys. But in the last year, he officially came out as pansexual in an interview with Paper magazine. Paper gave Urie the chance to officially come out to his fans, who often tell Urie how his music has helped them feel comfortable with their own sexuality.
I used to dream about this day. Just being a part of musical theater, so it's literally a dream come true. What drew me to the show was when I saw it, I knew I wanted to be a part of it. It moved me so much, that end moment, the finale, I felt like I want to get up and shout and like celebrate life, and that kind of feeling resonated within me, and I wanted to be a part of it. The message is so clear, it's so relatable. When audiences leave Kinky Boots, I hope they feel that passion that I felt, that was like a fire inside of my chest. If you want to laugh, you want to cry, you want to feel something so strong at the end of a show, then come to the show. It's just incredible.
In the 1980s, during the fight for queer rights, the unthinkable happened: AIDS. The AIDS crisis began around 1981, and it has yet to end, as there is still no cure, but significantly less people have it now as prevention methods are widely used. During the height of the epidemic, Time magazine wrote a few articles on the subject, one of the more notable being how heterosexuals are coping with AIDS. In the article, they look at the spread of AIDS to heterosexual couples and how it affected the sexual revolution of the 1960s and 70s. The evolution of Time covers shows how HIV and AIDS become a crisis once it starts affecting heterosexual couples more. In the early years of HIV and AIDS, the gay community was condemned. Looking at Time's covers about AIDS shows how concern grew once the virus was affecting straight people as well. Representation has changed for the LGBTQ+ community. There is more content in mainstream magazines educating on and supporting queer issues. Magazines exist that are dedicated to the community. This representation is still relatively new, so there is still hate and resistance against it. The history of queer representation in magazines will continue to grow and gain many more successes along the way.